Dear students, hopefully you are all right. I am Siddhartha Shankar, an assistant professor in English in Government Horganga College, Munshiganj. Today, this is the continuation of our previous discussion on the transformation of sentence according to structure. So, structurally, the sentences are of three kinds, and those are simple, complex, and compound sentences. So, let's proceed on from rule 6. So, what is in rule 6? In rule 6, you see, in simple sentence, we may find because of, on account of, owing to, or due to. What should we do in that case? To make those sentences complex, we will use since, as, or because as conjunction. And to make compound sentence, we will use and so, and, or, therefore. Let's see some examples. Because of my illness, I could not go to college. So here you see, I could not go to college. The main components of this sentence are here. You will find the main components of the sentence like subject and finite verb in this portion. So, what is the first portion you see? Because of my illness. This is a phrase. So, we will make this phrase into a clause using since, as, or because to make it a complex sentence. So, what is the complex sentence? Since I was ill, I could not go to college. And how to make it a compound sentence? We can use and so, or and, or therefore. I was ill, therefore I couldn't go to college. So this is the compound sentence. Say another example. Owing to his weakness, the old man could not go outside. Owing to his weakness, this is a phrase. So we will make this phrase a clause. How to make it? Using a conjunction since, as, or when. Since the old man was weak, he couldn't go outside. So this is complex sentence. And how to make it a compound sentence? Using and so, and, or therefore. So here we can use and so. The old man was weak and so he couldn't go outside. So this is how we can transform from one kind to another. Now let's move to rule 7. In some cases, we will find the sentences are like this: subject plus verb plus object plus present or past participle. So we know what is present participle. Present participle is basically verb 1 plus ing, and past participle is the past participle form of a verb, that is verb 3. So if we find like this, in this case we will use a relative pronoun to make it a complex sentence. Relative pronoun, WH words, or that can also be used. So relative pronoun like who, who is, whose, whom, what, and that, this can be used to make it a complex sentence. And to make it a compound sentence, we use and, or, and so. Let's see example. I saw a bird flying in the sky. Here you see, I saw a bird. Here I is subject, saw is the verb, and a bird is the object. And then you see there is a participle phrase using ing with a verb, that is flying in the sky. This is a phrase. Now, how to make it a complex sentence? So this phrase, if we can make this phrase into a clause using a WH words, then it will be a complex sentence. So what is the answer? You see, I saw a bird, this portion is as usual, and then we have used the relative pronoun which, and then which was flying in the sky. So according to the verb, we have used the tense, which was flying in the sky. And how to make it a compound sentence? Using and we can make it a compound sentence. A bird was flying in the sky and I saw it. So dear students, you are requested to carefully look or see the examples, and this will be helpful for you in to transform this type of sentences. Another example, he sold a well-built house. A well-built house, well-built is the past participle. Now, how to make it complex? He sold a house which was well-built. So, using WH word, that is relative pronoun which, we have made it complex, and to make it complex, of course, we should make two clauses, and in both clauses there are two finite verbs. And how to make it compound? Her house was well built and she sold it. Now rule 8. In some cases we will find subject plus verb plus object plus ing form with the verb. What should we do in that case? We will use the subjective form be verb plus object, and to make it compound we will use and. So here also the same as the previous rule, and we can use relative pronoun or that to make it a complex sentence. So here you see the example, I saw him, subject plus verb plus object, and then reading under a tree, that is present participle has been used here. So what should we do here? We can use that and subjective form, that is I saw that he was reading under a tree. And to make it a compound sentence we will use and to connect two clauses. So here you see, he was reading under a tree and I saw that. This is compound sentence. Now let's discuss rule 9. In rule 9, here you see by plus gerund. Gerund is a noun. Gerund verb 1 plus ing. When verb 1 plus ing acts as noun is called a gerund. So by plus noun or gerund, we can find noun or noun phrase may be there. In this case we will make it, how to make it a complex sentence. In this case we will turn it into a conditional sentence. So I think you have good idea about conditional sentences. In my previous lectures on right form of verb, I have discussed elaborately on conditional sentences. So in conditional sentences the clauses are added with if. So here you see the first clause, if we find by plus gerund in a sentence or by plus noun phrase, in that case the first clause or the subordinate clause will be affirmative and the next clause will be as you see in the exercise or in the example. And to make it a compound sentence we will use and. So see the example, by hard work with devotion you can be successful. By hard work with devotion, here by plus we see a noun phrase. By hard work with devotion you can be successful. So you can be successful will remain as usual, but the first portion will be turned into a phrase, into a clause, and that clause should be positive, and this should be added with if. So if you work hard with devotion, you can be successful. This is the complex sentence, and to make it compound we will omit if and we will use and in between the clauses. So what is the answer? Work hard with devotion and you can be successful. Another example, you see, by playing in the rain, here by plus gerund has been used, you will catch cold. So by playing in the rain, what should we do? If he plays in the rain, so here we have made a clause and we have borrowed the subject from the next portion of the sentence. He will catch cold. From this portion we get the subject he, and according to the rule of conditional, if the first clause is in present indefinite tense, the second clause will be in future indefinite tense. This is first conditional. So if he plays in the rain, he will catch cold. And how to make it a compound sentence? To make it a compound sentence, we will use and to connect the clauses. He plays in the rain and he will catch cold. Now let's discuss on rule 10. Without plus gerund, by plus gerund, and similarly we can see without plus gerund and or noun phrase. In this case we will use if, that is conditional of course, but the if clause will be negative, and the former rule was in our former rule we saw that the if clause was affirmative or positive, and if we find without plus gerund, our to make it a complex sentence, the if clause or the subordinate clause will be negative, and then we will add the other clause. And in this case we will use or to make it a compound sentence. See the example. Without eating a balanced diet, you cannot keep fit. So without plus gerund, here you find without plus gerund. So now we can use if plus negative clause, and from the next portion of the sentence we can borrow from the principal clause, we can borrow the subject. So here we have used, you see, if you do not eat a balanced diet, you cannot keep fit. Now how to make it a compound sentence? Eat a balanced diet or you cannot keep fit. Only adding or we can make it a compound sentence. Now see another example. Without eating good food, she cannot develop a good health. Now how to make it a complex sentence? That if clause will be negative. If she doesn't eat good food, she cannot develop a good health. Now how to make it a compound sentence? Using or. She eats good food or she cannot develop a good health. Let's learn rule 11. At the beginning of the sentence, we may find a preposition or adverbial phrases in a simple sentence, and in that case we will use conjunction when or while to make it a complex sentence, and to make it a compound sentence we will use and or at that time or then. Let's see the example. In the morning I take my breakfast. So in the morning, here you see this is a prepositional phrase, and I take my breakfast, this is the main clause of this sentence. I is the subject and take is the finite verb. So the phrase, prepositional phrase, if we can make that a prepositional phrase into a clause, then it will be a complex sentence. And to make it a complex sentence, we will use when or while as conjunction. You see, when it is morning, I take my breakfast. So the first portion has been turned into a clause, and both clauses has been added with the conjunction when. And to make it a compound sentence, we can use and or at that time. It is morning and I take my breakfast at that time, and plus at that time. Or it is morning and I take my breakfast then. Now let's learn rule 12. In the rule 12, you see, in the simple sentence, the sentence may start with in case of or in the event of. In this case, again we will use conditional. In case of, this is also refers to some condition. Therefore, to make it a complex sentence, we will use the form of conditional sentences, and the conditional sentences starts with if. And in complex and compound sentence, we will use and will connect the clauses. See the example. In case of buying a ticket, you can enter the gate. So in case of buying the ticket, this is a phrase. You can enter the gate. This is the clause, the principal clause. And now what should we do? We should make the phrase, the first portion of the sentence, into a clause. How to make it into a clause? Using if conjunction. So see the answer. If you buy a ticket, you can enter the gate. Understand? And how to make it a compound sentence? We can make it a compound sentence using and in between the both clauses. Buy a ticket and you can enter the gate. Let's see another example. In case of not buying a ticket, he will be punished. So what is the answer? It is the negative. First one, the phrase is negative, so we will also use negative clause here. If he doesn't buy a ticket, he will be punished. And to make it a compound sentence, we will use and. Or here the sentence is negative, so we will use or. He will buy a ticket or he will be punished. So dear students, I think you are getting benefit from these lectures, and we will continue the lectures, and in my previous in later lectures you will learn the rules, more rules on this transformation. So you stay fine, stay safe and sound. Thank you for watching.